So here I was enjoying my morning, and then to stumble upon a notification from YouTube. Another 28 years later movie, guys. The Bone Temple, apparently coming out early next year in January. I am very excited to say the least. Okay, the first movie was alright, but I think they had a few questions to which they didn't quite answer, and I was very disappointed. I didn't know this was going to be a trilogy. I'm just finding out that this is going to be a trilogy, and I'm very excited. So it isn't going to be directed by Danny Boyle, but rather Nia Da Costa. Apparently, it's going to be directed by Nia Da Costa. Now, I have a lot of expectations for this movie. Okay, like I said before, there are a few questions the first movie didn't answer, and here's to hoping that the second movie does make those answers and takes them very seriously. Okay, he needs to answer those questions, and I'm here for it. So apparently, this new story is going to be centered on Spike's journey as he joins the cult. They are going to also further delve into Dr. Kelson's backstory from the trailers, I hope, and the cult itself. That cult, I believe, is going to be an unhinged cult. I hope they are. It's been 28 years later since the virus outbreak, so I'd hope that there'd be some unhinged, sectors or clans or whatever factions broke out after the virus. So, what really is Dr. Kelson's ambition, or what drives him? Because he thinks that he has this moral, he shows empathy for the dead and the living alike, right? His mission is to preserve our history. But I think there's something behind that compassion that he has. He's hiding something. To me, I think that he's a broken man. Okay. In the trailer, we see him, looking over pictures of his past life. He's just there moping. And we see a picture of him, presumably with his wife or his girlfriend or whomever his love interest was before the outbreak. I think him losing the love of his life broke him to the extent where he just gives up and decides to become a forest hermit, right? Burying the dead and immortalizing their lives, keeping them in memory, and building pyres out of their skulls. He's a broken man, but I think we need to find out why he's so much broken in this movie. I think that both Dr. Kelson and the cult are going to play a very big role in this movie. The cult that Spike joined at the end of the first movie wasn't really explained, right? We see in the beginning of 28 years later, when the outbreak first became rampant and people were dying basically, and then this kid manages to escape after his father, who was a priest, basically welcomed the dead into their church. It was so dumb, but okay. This kid later on becomes the leader of this cult that basically torture people. I think they're a faction. I believe I want them to be a faction, right, that purposefully believe that the end times are everything, and then they torture those who don't believe in their ideology. These guys are going to be freakishly interesting. Also in the trailer, we see them invading Dr. Kelson's temple. Probably at the end of the movie, there's going to be an all-out war of ideologies. I do believe that there could be a problem later on. Now, for Spike's story, I think the boy is naive. He joins the cult thinking he's found his purpose in life, right? He's found people he could click with. Oh boy, that's going to be a very bad experience for him by the time he discovers what these people are actually up to. They're demonic. It's a cult, for God's sake. What do you expect? These people kill for fun. Probably are cannibals. It would be very interesting if they were cannibals. I'd like it if they were cannibals. This is a cult, right? We should give them the same intensity as a cult should be. They should have this kind of, intensity that factions have after an outbreak of a virus. They should be deadly. I do hope they're deadly, right? I do hope they're deadly. But then Spike is going to discover that these people are not what they seem. They aren't what they seem, and he's going to try to break out from them. And it's going to cost him an arm and a leg to do that. And then I said at the beginning of the video that there are questions to which the first movie didn't answer. I do think that this movie is going to give us a little bit of a back story as to how the virus, reached its extent or reached its peak, to the point that the infected are intelligent enough to hunt as a pack and to have an alpha. Samson, the alpha that was tranquilized in the first movie, is definitely making a second appearance in this sequel, and he seems more dangerous than ever. I feel like they should give us a backstory, or they might give us they will give us a backstory. I do expect them to give us a backstory as to how intelligent these infected became, because if they are able to reproduce, right, give us something. Give me an answer to how they evolved this quickly over the span of 2 decades, almost 3 decades at this point, right? They are intelligent enough to hunt as a pack. I need more of those. They should show how deadly they are as a pack in hunting down both animals and humans. Alright, well, those are my thoughts on what I think or what I expect from 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. See you guys next time. Subscribe and goodbye.